This one is really introduction to QSLing. And in this time we're going to do together, by the way, you can interrupt me at any time with questions. Feel free. It's really about how do you get a confirmation? That's really the key on this. How do you get a confirmed contact? And we're going to look at 5 things. Logbook of the World is probably the best and cheapest, but not everybody uses it. But we'll talk about that one. Then OQRS is fantastic for de-expeditions. It actually saves the price of your stamp, card, and envelope, and you'll get one, and I'll show you how to do that. Then QSL Cards, and we'll talk about what you put on them, where you get them, how you store them. And then related to that, how do you get those checked where you get credit for them? We'll show you how to do that. And then how do you use incoming and outgoing bureaus? So we're really going to look at 5 things in the course of the workshop tonight. And I will tell you, all of the resources I refer to are going to be in a resource file that you can access. And about 2 hours after we finish the workshop, I'll put the video there. And then there is a PowerPoint of the slides, which will include all the hot links. So there will be things that you can use follow up.
So the meeting ID is the 899.
Peter, I think we're hearing you.
Okay. All right, bye. Yeah, Mel, I'm on, and that was Jeff. He got confused, but he's going to be joining us any second now.
Okay. Be sure and mute your phone. Or okay. I can mute you if you need to. Okay. Let's talk about Logbook of the World. I think probably everybody's familiar with it, but it's the fastest and cheapest. In fact, like I made a contact today, and it was confirmed about 15 seconds afterwards from Hungary today. So, it's fast, it's cheap, doesn't cost anything. Almost all of your logging programs can be set up to automatically upload your contacts. You don't have to do anything. You just log it and it's uploaded. You often do need to manually download confirmations, and almost all of the logging software has a way to do that. We can talk you through that if you need to. And some of the spotting programs will actually show you if the station you're working uses Logbook of the World. And so, like, let's say you had 2 stations you wanted to work in Switzerland, and one of them's using Logbook of the World and one of them's using ESQ. Well, contact the one that's using Logbook, because then you're going to get a confirmation. And in the user's resources for this workshop, there is a Logbook of the World user guide that is really fantastic, that will take you all the way through from setting up an account to how do you set your programs. And it's quite extensive, and it's a PDF you can download and print. When you log on to Logbook of the World, this is the screen you get. You come on to it, Logbook of the World user. You have to enter your call and your password. And the minute you enter those, then it takes you to this screen. And 2 things I wanted to show you on this screen. This will be for you. It'll have your call up here. Oops, excuse me. And then, like on mine, I have 19,860 QSL records in Logbook of the World, of which 11,668 have been confirmed. So that just lets you know how you're doing there. But number 2 is the most important thing here. There's a tab called Awards. And if you hit that, go ahead.
Mel, how do you get an account to get a login and a password?
In that handout that's in the resources that I mentioned, whoops, went the wrong direction. That's right here, this new user's guide. It tells you exactly how to get it.
Oh, cool. Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, and it's really, again, it's a couple of step process, but if you follow the directions, it's pretty flawless. Okay. Oops, I got somebody who needed to get in. Just a moment. Okay. So you hit the Awards tab, and then that'll bring you to a screen that looks like this. And there are really 5 awards that you could get for, but I'm only going to talk about 3. The top one is for DXCC, and you basically have to, you select an award, like it'll always say, like for me, here's my call, United States of America. If I hit on that, I'll show you where we go in a minute. For worked all states, same thing, you can get that. And then down here for worked all zone, CQ worked all zone, you can hit on any one of these and go to that award. But I'm going to only concentrate tonight on DXCC. So let's say I hit this right there. It'll take me to a screen like this. And I see a couple of things shifted on with Zoom. But first off, there is a column that it should have been over there. Zoom some way switched my PowerPoint. Just a moment. It says total all. So this will show you how many countries you have confirmed, like in mixed. Like this would be how many in phone. This is how many in digital. And then it'll go by each band. And the last one will be challenge, which is how many DX you have unduplicated and all. Now, the column all shows you, this could include deleted countries or anything. The ones, the DX credit award shows you the ones that you've actually paid for and got credit. And then the current total is in the end one. If you notice, if there's an asterisk by something, it tells you that you've already received that award. So like for here, I've got 6 bands DXCC, but notice there's no CW column because I've made no CW contacts. If you were working CW, there'd be a CW column. So all of that is available to you instantly to show you how you're doing. Second thing, by the way, any other questions about logbook before I move on? Okay, a second one I'd talk to you about is called OQRS. And this is especially true of DXpeditions and really rare DX. It's an online QSL request system. And here's why they do that. A couple things. Most DXpeditions use it. They don't want your card. They're going to get 80,000 cards. They don't want them. But they do want to, give you a card. And the cost of this is usually going to be from $3 to $5, but it'll include multiple contacts. Like on South Oakley, for example, I had 14 contacts with them for $5 that they verified. I'll show you how this all works. And you get and request them through Club Log. And you can pay with PayPal. By the way, Club Log is free. And usually you'll have the card within 3 months. But I'm going to walk you through this to show you what it looks like. On Club Log, which is free, you just, go on and register. You'll get in, it'll be your email or your call sign and then a password. There is a tab called Expeditions up here. If you hit that tab, let me give you one little side note. Club Log and Logbook of the World can be made to sync together. They're the only two that can be. And most of your logging programs will upload to both automatically. You can make it where it just uploads. You don't have to do anything. And Club Log has some wonderful tools for analyzing your DX, how you're doing, where you're going, ways you work, and it's free. It's a free one. Okay, now back to this. If here I hit Expedition, it would take me to a menu. Like this is all, and I've only shown a portion of it because I could have fit it on the screen. But these were DXpeditions. It'll show, what their call sign was, what their country, what their continent, when it was, how many QSOs they made, how many were unique. And if they have a shopping cart, like right there, you can order a QSL card directly from it. So I picked this one. This is mine. Here's one with Ogasawa that I did October 6th. So if I hit that little shopping cart, it'll take me to a screen like this, which I have to enter my call sign in, and then I hit find QSOs, and a chart will come up, and if they have me in their logbook, there'll be a check. So like I worked them on 15 meters. Then I can go down here to number 3, I can request a QSL card. If I hit that, it'll go to a screen that looks like this. The first direct QSL will cost 150 yen to QSL. Each additional QSL costs you nothing. So if I had worked them 20 times, it would have still cost me just that much. You have to fill in your date. You know, here's the call, but I have to fill in. And notice, by the way, this was all the way back in 2011. I have to fill in my data and then check out. Now, just to translate for you, 150 yen equals $1.42. You couldn't buy the postage and your card for that. And if you hit checkout, it will take you to, just a moment here, it will take you to a place you can pay with PayPal. So I could get this card without ever sending postage, without ever sending them a card for $1.42. So personally, well, I can show you here. I bought all of these cards here through OQRS, and you see the amounts over here. They vary, like sometimes they're in a different currency, but basically it's $3 to $5. Well, right now postage is about $1.20, and then if you put some green stamps in it, it's really cost effective. So I encourage you, if you work any rare DS that uses OQRS, go ahead and use it and save yourself some effort and some money. Now we'll go to the third topic related. How do you get confirmation? Well, QSL cards. And one, they're fun to get, but two, they work for credit. So to buy QSL cards, I've listed in the notes and you can get them. These are 4 printers that all receive perfect ratings with high volume in EHAM. And I know people that have used 3 of the 4, and I think you won't go wrong on any of them. But on your card, you have, you're going to have a front. You decide what you want. We'll talk about some options, but there's mine. And up there above, you can see that's who I ordered mine from. But you can put anything you want. So I put my tower, but you could put your shack, you could put a lake, a mountain, anything that's meaningful to you. And then on the back side, I want to show you 3 things that I draw to always on your QSL card, make sure you at least put this, because different people collect. You're in CQ, well, we are, most of us in here are in CQ zone 3, ITU zone 6. This is your grid square and your county, because you'll have some county hunters, you'll have some grid square hunters, you'll have some zone hunters. If you put it on your card, they can get credit for it, and it helps them that way. Then I like on a card to have multiple lines, because oftentimes I'm going to work them on multiple bands. So if I don't have multiple lines, if your card only has 1 line, like some, you have to put a card for every contact. Well, I can put 4 on here real easy. And then you want to be able to check, are you asking for a card, or are you thanking them for their card? And so those are just some things to think about. And here's examples of costs. The company I bought from that's full color front and back, 1,000 cards are going to cost you basically $94. The UX5, which by the way, he's probably the biggest of them all, 1,000 are going to, and include shipping, are going to cost you $89. Economy, cheap QSL cards, which a lot of people use, you can get a basic card, 100 of them, for $15. So, I'm just trying to show you, it depends, what you want, but there are some examples of costs. when you order, they get cheaper the more you order, but the problem is you order too many cards, and by the time you use them all, everything's changed. You got a different radio, different station, different. You look 10 years older. So I would say I'd recommend to you, although Jay could chime in if he felt different, but I would never order over 1,000 cards, and 500 is enough for many. And if you're just getting started, maybe 100 is fine. Don't order, 5,000 cards. You just probably won't use it, especially now that so many are using Logbook of the World and OQRS. Some things about designing your card, though. Consider a photo. Photos add interest. They add appeal. It's fun, somebody gets your station and, they want to see it. So sometimes you'd use your station, an antenna, a picture of you. Some people use a landmark. They're right next to some landmark, or they want to use Mount Rainier, or they want to use something. Some people will put a map with a star on their QTH, but there's anything you can do. There's hundreds you can look at to get ideas. Think through your contact information. And I've mentioned always put your ZQ zone, your ITU zone, and your grid square. But think through what you want to have on your card that would be helpful to the other station. And then I do really encourage you to think about multiple lines. Otherwise, I often am sending 2 or 3 contacts to the same station, and I'd have to send 3 cards, which is a waste of money, really. You can print your own cards. Many people have an inkjet printer. I personally think it's more work than it's worth. And most printed, home printed cards aren't the quality. They work, but I did in your resource give you 3 sites that you can actually go to, and they will help you free print your card on your printer. So if you're just getting started and you only need 10 cards, maybe you could try that if you wanted. What are you going to do when you get cards? Put them in shoe boxes? We were talking a minute ago about, the plastic ones. Well, that's fine until you get 4,000 cards. So there is a guy that makes boxes that are made for the exact size for QSL cards, and he sells 6 of those boxes for $39. By the way, he's out of Olympia, Washington. It's ham stuff. The other thing he makes are the labels. So if you look on the left, this is for worked all states. So you have a label for every state, and then he has a label for all 340 entities. And so, like here, I have 4 boxes of DX ones, but they basically start with 1 and go all the way through. And again, he sells the dividers. Well, you could go down and buy dividers and handwrite it, but I bought these in 2004. It's a one-time cost, and it's nice. It's neat. So I mentioned that to you. Okay, some hints on sending your cards. First, before you ever send a card, check their QRZ page. You're going to find some people won't accept cards, period. Some are going to have a QSL manager, and they don't want them coming to them. They want them coming direct. I was mentioning to Peter and Jeff today, I worked one of the Russian satellite countries, and the guy said, if you want a QSL card, email me. And I emailed him, and he said, you can't send me dollars. If I get $1, they'll assume I'm a spy. The only way I can send you a QSL card is if you send me a postage repay. I can't think of the official name of it now, but basically it's international postage. So they don't sell them in the US anymore. I bought them from Japan, sent them to him, and he sent me a card. But I will tell you, if they have a QSL manager, follow the directions exactly. And then some of them don't want your QSL card at all. Well, it's a waste of money to send it to them. Sometimes you can email them and talk them out of it, but that, and then usually we're talking international now. They'll tell you, either them or their manager, how many green stamps it costs for their return postage. No longer can you send stamps. You know, a U.S. stamp is worthless to them. And we don't produce the international ones anymore. Now, you're going to normally find it'll be either $2 or $3. And a lot just depends on two things. One is the postage from where you're getting the card, and two, what kind of person they are. Some are making a few cents on a, but it's usually going to be $2 or $3, honestly. Now, I was going to just show you an example of what that works like. So the biggest de-exposition of the year was VP8 PJ. I had 14 contacts with them. Well, they use a QSL manager. So you look on QRZ and you see down here it says QSL MOURX. So if you want a card from BP8 PJ, you have to go through this person. So what you do is you take that call and put it up here and hit search, and you get this page. And you know, this guy is in England. He does a number of them, but he tells you right down here, if you're working these de-expeditions, and there's the one we just saw, it's $5. If you work that de-expedition, it's $4. Generally speaking, it's $3. But this one here, they're probably subsidizing themselves a little bit. So all you have to do there, then it will tell you, see, no stamps, that's international reply coupon. That's what I couldn't think of a minute. No coins. Because if you send anything like that, they're going to send it back through the bureau, not direct. This is for sending it direct to you. So, you know, you'll get it much quicker. And all I'm saying is, on a check before you waste your money. Because if you just, you know, if you sent, for example, $3 to them, you're not getting anything. You just lost $3. So follow what it says on their QSL manager. And I think that you pay attention to that. Okay, let me just flip here. Now some more hints.
Hey, Mel.
Yeah.
What's the? Could you go back to that last slide, please? Where is the address of where to send it in here?
Okay. It's actually further down the page. I couldn't get it all on the slide.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Got it.
But by the way, he on this one here, in fact, I just barely, the very last line, you see, he tells you don't send him a card, use OQRS, which is that I talked about a minute ago.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when you're sending something, especially to, and I don't mean this negatively, but a third world country, never put on the front of the card any call sign, anything to do with amateur radio, because the people will steal the dollars out of it. That's just reality. When I was in the Philippines, every piece of international mail I got was opened. If there were dollars in it, they weren't in it when it came. So, you know, try and make the letter look like a personal, like from friends to a friend, but don't put their call, or it's just going to get ripped off. Make sure when you write your card, you really get it accurate, because otherwise them may not count for them. Excuse me. And always include a self-addressed envelope. If it's to the United States, make sure it's got postage on it. Nothing more irritating, someone sends you an envelope, but you have to buy their postage for them. Include green stamps, and their website will almost always tell you how much. But again, I tell you, 90% of the time, it's $2 or $3. I prefer to use brand new bills because they lay flat, and I'm hiding it. And then when you put the bill in, put the bill between the return envelope and your card where those hide it. You can't hold it up to a light and see your dollar bills. It just works better that way. When you're sending cards, you got two choices really. And we're talking international here. Direct, you're going to pay the cost of your card. An international stamp, which, you know, $13, $14 now, I think, and then your green stamp. So you almost have $4 to $5 when you send a card out. Now, you're much more likely to get a return. I'm sure I average well over 95% return on the cards that way. And it's usually faster, like a lot of times, 2 weeks I'll have it, 2.5. The bureau is a way you can save yourself some money. It's cheaper, but it often will take 2 or 3 years round trip. Well, some of us my age don't have 2 or 3 years to wait. But, and then some people just won't answer a bureau card. They'll just tell you, they don't want to mess with it. Now, let's talk about, you get a card. Now, you've got this wonderful DX card that you want. You have to take it to a card checker. In fact, Jay, who's in our group, was a card checker for years. But right now, Gary Bittner is our card checker in this Spokane DX Club. And he's certified to check both ARL and CQ and 160 meter cards, which it's nice to have all three. And there's information on our website about the process, but I'm going to talk you through it because I did it just to be ready to show you how to do it. And in the resource folder, there is my actual application all the way through to show you how it's numbered, step 1, step 2, step 3, and you can just look at it and copy it. But one of the things that you'll have to fill out an online DXCC application. There's a hot link for it. And so you fill out that and you say, I'm wanting an endorsement, I'm running a new certificate. You tell what you want. And then you enter there's a form and you're entering in your QSL cards. Then you submit it and you pay for it. So it depends how many you're getting, what certificates you're going, what it's going to cost. But like I'll show you after we finish the PowerPoint. I'm submitting 30 cards to Gary. It cost me $10. Then you take your application, your cards, an ARL addressed envelope, and the postage to the card checker. Now, if you're part of the Spokane DX, if you tell Gary ahead of time, you can just come early to a meeting and he'll check it right there. And it'll be done before the meeting starts. They'll check your cards, sign your application, and put it in the envelope to ARL and give you your cards back. They've verified that what's on the form is what's on your cards. And then you'll get confirmation from ARL saying, yes, these have been accepted and they're now part. And then if you go to that menu I showed you earlier, they'll show up as accepted. So, you know, that's kind of how you do it. On bureau cards, again, it often takes 2 to 3 years. I will tell you, you know, I get bureau cards probably 5 times a year. 90% of them are probably from Japan. But they tend to come from popular countries, not rare ones. So, you know, you just have to know that. Well, you have to make sure you're registered with the 7th area, because we're a 7th area here. Bureau, which is out of the Willamette DX Club, and you have postage there for them to pay for. And it's, you know, you just make sure you always have some postage. Again, in the resource folder that you can download, there is the PDF form to fill out to get registered with the 7th Bureau. And that'll be for cards coming to you. So if somebody, so, you know, some of the South American countries, some of the Asian countries, especially Japan, they like to use the Bureau, some out of Russia too. But and they'll come that way. Well, if you're registered and the cards come and you have postage, when they get a group of your cards, they'll put them in an envelope and mail them to you. And so you'll get them. So that's incoming. Outgoing, say you have 20 cards for international and you don't want to spring for the postage on it, you can send it to the ARL outgoing bureau and they'll send them for you. And so like if you have 10 or fewer cards in one envelope, it's $2. 11 to 20 cards in one envelope is $3. And then over 21, it's 75 cents per ounce. You just have to weigh it, send them. So it's really quite economical. It just takes a long time. You know, if you're in your 20s, no problem.
Hey, Mel.
Yeah.
So I don't have any QSL cards, and I have not sent any out. Should I be expecting to receive some from some of the people either in the U.S. or foreign countries?
Yeah, you will, because, for example, you know, the Japanese stations especially are real. It's real common for them to send QSL cards, and on their card, they'll request a return. Now, if they send it to you through the bureau, you could send it back to the bureau. What I actually do, and I'm not saying this is right or anything, but you know, like I might get 50 of them. I'll just send 50 directly to the Japan Outward Bureau. It's one envelope, and then they'll distribute them. And that way the guys don't have to wait 3 years.
Okay.
But you won't get any cards until you're registered with the 7th Bureau.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I haven't registered. So if they got any cards, they're holding them?
They'll hold them for about 3 months and then they go to the trash.
No.
Geez.
I never registered with them and actually got an email from the guy one time that I had some cards there, but I had no money or registration.
Yeah.
And I mean, which I thought was really nice of him.
Was that Smith?
So, yeah, I PayPal, you know, I think it was $20 to cover it or 30 or whatever. So that I had some reserve there. And he sent me about 12 cards, of which 11 were from Japan.
Yeah. And I will say, first off, the guys in the Willamette group that do the cards, they are wonderful. They are very gracious. But for example, he was doing that out of the kindness of his heart. That really isn't expected of them.
Yeah, really. No, I gathered that because I'd never registered, but that, you know, he just sent me a quick email and thanked me for sending them some money.
So we should register with them, and then it's like posting a bond, having some money.
Yeah, but honestly, they usually only want about $10.
Okay.
And then they hold that. You know, you basically have a tab, and like if they send you something and it costs $2, they take 2 off your 10. And when you get down low, they'll send you a note saying, "Hey, you need to put some more postage money in."
Okay. Did you give a web an URL to register with them?
There is one, but in the resource folder, there's the actual application that you can fill out and email to them.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Good. Okay, now, really at this point, I'm going to stop my screen share in just a moment, but, you know, there were really 5 things I wanted you to see. You know, use Logbook of the World anytime you can. For a D-Expedition or Rare, consider using OQRS. That's, to me, it's fast, it's most cost effective. Third is QSL cards, and you will need QSL cards because even here in the United States, you have people that, you know, they want your county because they're county hunters or they're working all states, those kind of things. Then if you get cards, you have to take them to a card checker or you don't get credit for them. They do, you know, they don't count towards anything. And then lastly, you can use a bureau, both, and always have stuff at the incoming, but whether you use the outgoing is strictly up to you.